Teresa Vibe with Travel Leader Executives. She will be sharing with us about how to plan ahead while traveling with seniors, plus some tips and tricks for seniors traveling safely.
Okay. We are here with Teresa Vibe, who is at Travel Leaders Executive. And what we were talking about is, and we were just talking about before we got on here, was traveling with seniors. So it's both seniors themselves and the challenges of traveling when maybe there's some limited mobility, health issues, that kind of thing. But also families traveling with seniors where, okay, we want mom, dad, and so on to come with us and to go on these trips and wherever we are. And those kinds of challenges. And what we were talking about is to keeping all that in mind, making sure you plan for it and have a good, plan that you can execute in that travel, and then to go. And not to limit yourself, because there are things that you can do to make it a really enjoyable experience.
Yes.
So tell me some of the things you think that might be really helpful in that
Well,
route.
first of all and foremost, I always suggest travel insurance. Don't leave without it, because there's too many unknown things can happen. And a lot of people think it's change your mind insurance. No, that is not what it is. It's protect your travel investment and to protect you while you're traveling. For instance, if you go to Europe and a senior falls, you have to get them home.
Okay.
What if you have to airlift them? It can be
It's a big
$25,000,
deal.
$50,000.
Oh my
The
gosh.
insurance will cover that.
Okay.
So very important. Always get
Now this
travel
is,
protection
where
insurance.
do you get that?
We sell it with the program.
With-
With whatever you purchase, we can sell it with it.
Okay, so this is part of where at a travel agent like yourselves say, okay, I don't have to go somewhere else to get it. You're just
No.
selling
We can
that
add
insurance.
We can add it to it.
Got
Yep.
it.
Don't advertise your absence, especially for seniors. Seniors are targeted by thieves, different places, because elderly are easier to knock down, to take a purse, that sort of thing. So, as far as the airline is concerned, it's easy when you're planning your trip. Plan for getting off and on the airplane.
Okay.
Do your wheelchair assistance to and from. If they're mobile, no problem, to and from the gate. It helps them get to the correct gate if they're making connecting flights, because the agent does it for them. The other thing, is a lot of people don't understand, is airlines will not wait for anybody except an immobile agent. They will wait for a traveler who has wheelchair assistance.
Okay.
If they're already on the flight, they'll wait for that next flight.
How about through security? Is there something special
Yes.
looking through that?
They actually take them through a special security. If they can't stand and all, they'll wand them, and they have a special person that will take them through security.
And do you pre-call airlines and things like that to do that, or you just
We
kind of
take
go
care of
and-
that for them.
Okay.
We add the wheelchair assistance to and from, and it depends on how mobile they are, which program will get for them, whether it's just to and from the gate, or if they actually need assistance getting on the aircraft, then we request an aisle chair. They are boarded first, and then they have to wait till everybody's off to deboard the plane. But that is all handled when we do the reservations. We all take care of that for them then. It makes it much easier for the seniors to get off and on the plane and get to and from the gates. So we always do that. Stay safe on your feet. As far as, travel in comfortable shoes and stuff, especially a senior. It's so easy to fall. Don't wear shoes where they're going to get caught in the...
I imagine that's the number one thing here, is
It
preventing
really
falls
is. Yeah, it really
in
is.
terms of travel.
Yeah, because in other countries, they don't have the security and the walkways, and they'll have cobblestones, or they'll have pavers, or they'll have unlevel surfaces. So it's very important to be mindful of that. And even if they're really good, maybe take a cane, just to have that extra little bit of security walking in some of those places.
Some of those travel canes, the little things, okay,
Yeah.
but something's better than nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Keep bling to a minimum. Don't advertise that you've got all this stuff. Leave the bling at home, because that's what attracts things. The big cameras, the expensive cameras, those attract the thieves.
Okay. And I would imagine that, like you said, seniors tend to be targets.
Yes, they do.
So-
Much more than others. Much more than others.
So this is a problem and something that you've got to be cognizant of when you're traveling.
Yeah, so
Okay.
just be careful. Mind your meds. Do not pack your medications. Always keep them in your carry-on with you. And then make sure they have the prescription on them. Don't take them out and put them in an unmarked bottle, because then they're going to think you've got drugs for sale or whatever when you go through security. So make sure that they have your prescription on them, but keep them with you. Don't pack them. Bags can get lost, and then you have the meds.
That's all carry-on stuff. Okay.
Yeah. Always make sure you have enough meds to make it through your trip and a little, in case you're delayed for some reason. Have a little bit more. Watch what you eat. A lot of times we're used to a certain type of diet, and you go to Europe and you want to experience it. Experience it, but experience it in minimal ways, because you're not used to some of the spices, you're not used to some of the richer foods. And you don't want to have your trip interrupted because you have to spend half a day in your room.
Yeah, I would imagine this is, and again, it's a challenge not just when you're a senior traveling, but it's a challenge the whole family's traveling.
Yes.
So they all want to do X, right? And then the others want to do Y. I would imagine planning comes into play there as well.
Yeah, one thing I like for seniors and with families, you have to think of everyone in the family. Because kids may want to go to Disneyland. Well, Grandpa and Grandma may not be able to keep up the pace in Disneyland because it is a fast-paced type, especially if you're at Disney World. So you may want to think of maybe a Disney cruise instead, because then the kids have all the activities and Grandma and Grandpa can take a break and go take a nap, or just do something simple like sitting in the solarium for a while and reading.
Yeah, that's got to be challenging. I mean, here you are spending a lot of time, a lot of money that on your dream vacation, and if you've adjusted it to one family member versus another, that becomes the dream vacation only for one family member, right?
Right. So you got to think of the entire family and what suits the entire family, because the seniors are going to need a break here and there. They're not going to be able to go from 8 o'clock in the morning until 9 o'clock at night. They're going to need a break. I mean, they need a break at home. So think of something where they can go to their room or have some place to rest and not have to head out with the rest of the family. Have something where they're safe and the rest of the family can go on, which is a cruise, because you could go on an excursion and Grandma and Grandpa doesn't have to go on that excursion if it's too, like Rome, if you do that. The Rome excursion, when you're on a cruise, is a 10-hour excursion. Grandma and Grandpa may not be able to do that one. So they can just stay on the ship, and there's plenty to do on the ship while the rest of the family is gone.
Right, gotcha.
And the escorted one, a lot of times they do those in half days sometimes, where they get to a destination, they can check in. The rest of the family can take an additional tour, and Grandma and Grandpa can stay at the hotel and rest a little bit, and then meet them for dinner. And still see most of all the sights. Still be able to experience the trip with the family.
Sounds like the planning is the key here, as opposed to just the, hey, let's go and get up and go, which sounds fun. I mean, it's impulsive and it's kind of neat, but when you're dealing with multiple generations and I mean, let's face it, we have sandwich generations living together, which is great, but if you're talking about travel, that's not an impulsive thing.
No, and not if you're traveling with a family. It's just think it through a little bit more.
It's kind of like going with a baby. You're not going to just kind of up and go. You got to kind of decide what's going on with how you do with a very young person. Well, it's the same thing. You've got to plan this out.
Yeah, where they can have nap time too.
Yep.
They'll need their naps.
Very good. So those are kind of any other tips or things that you think of?
If you're thinking of pricing, travel off-peak. I mean, summertime is going to be more expensive. Holidays is more expensive. Holidays can be double, sometimes triple the cost. Now that's not always easy. That's not always easy for multi-generational travel where you have the children because they're in school. But if it's just the seniors traveling, travel in the what we call the shoulder season, off-peak. It's sometimes as less, maybe half the price.
Wow, that's a big difference.
It can be a huge difference.
And that's across the board for the flight, for everything you're doing.
Yeah, it really is. If you travel September, October, it's going to be half of what it is in June and July.
Very good. Okay. Good advice, good tips. Now, if somebody wants to, whether they're doing travel for anything, but it's particularly for families with seniors and so on, how do they get in touch with you?
An easy call, email, however you want to do it, or come in and see me.
Okay.
Our number is 661-254-6028. We also have an 800 number. It's 800-676-3932.
Right.
We all have an email address. Just call us, we'll give you that, and that way we can send you information.
Website if they want to go there?
We don't actively have a website.
Okay, so
You
it's
can
just
reach us through travelleaders.com, by
Gotcha.
requesting our agency, and then you get to us.
Gotcha, and then just give you a call. You're right here in Santa Clarita.
Mm-hmm.
Really highly advised coming down here and checking it out. And then, as Teresa was saying, plan. But go. This isn't something where the advice is not to go.
That's right.
The advice
Anybody
is
can
enjoy
go.
it.
I used to take
Plan
my
it out.
mother-in-law, and she was in her 90s, and we were able to take her on many trips with her, and she was delightful, and she had a wonderful time.
Wonderful. Great advice. Thank you. Thanks for taking a few minutes. And then Travel Leaders Executive. And one more time the phone number.
661-254-6028.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Teresa, for sharing with us. If you need more information on traveling with seniors who might have limited mobility, please contact Teresa Vibe at Travel Leaders Executives on 661-254-6028 or on the web at travelleaders.com. Upcoming events in Santa Clarita next week are on Thursday, December 1st, the Senior Center, What You Need to Know About Back Pain from 1 to 2 with Dr. Mala from Heritage Senior Medical Group. Valencia Marketplace, the second annual Community Christmas Tree Lighting. It's a craft fair. Santa Claus will be there. Area schools will be singing from 5 to 8 at the Valencia Marketplace Amphitheater on the Old Road. The Master Singers will be presenting Silent Night, their 33rd annual Come Christmas Sing-Along Concert Series. The first night is December 1st, but many dates will follow, starting at 7:30 p.m. at the Masters University in the MacArthur Center. Next event at the SCV Community Health Resource Center is on Tuesday, November 29th. Safety staff will be presenting Life is Why by the American Heart Association, how to recognize and prevent heart disease. On December 13th, Rick Ferrante will be presenting the Alzheimer's Association Effective Communication Strategies for the Alzheimer's Patient. It's going to help us learn good communication skills and strategies talking to those of our loved ones that might be suffering with Alzheimer's and dementia. Well, that's all for this week. I hope you have a great week, and we'll see you next week.